All right, good day, everyone. Definitely thanks for everyone joining us. I know folks will probably join us here over the next couple of minutes, but we have a lot to cover here in 1 hour, so definitely wanted to use the time wisely. First off, I said, do want to welcome everyone here today in terms of doing the National DigiFoundry Kickoff, or NDF. We're definitely really excited about this program and really be able to kick this off today. So good afternoon. I'll be your guide this afternoon through this. So my name is John Huggins. I'm with the University of Texas at San Antonio. So with that, I'll say a couple administrative notes is that for everyone, please mute your mics unless you're one of the speaking roles. And then secondly, is that we do have obviously a lot of folks on the call here today. So with that, one of the last things we have in our agenda is a Q&A session, but that obviously is dependent a little bit on the time. We are going to stay at 1 hour here today. So with that, if you do have a question, please put your question into the chat, and we'll monitor the chat here and then have that Q&A session at the very end. If we do not get to your question, and even if we do, we will have a kickoff summary report that we will put out and be able to answer all of your questions, here today. So with that, Kevin, could you go to the next slide for me? So overall, here is our agenda. We'll be doing a welcome here from Miss Ana Breda Estevez here momentarily. We'll go through an overall overview and current status of where we stand with the NDF. We'll get a chance to have some brief introductions from our founding members. We'll also talk through some of our infrastructure that we're developing. We do have 3 exciting working groups that we'll talk on, and we'll talk through our operational cadence, kind of culminating the fact that we'll have our first annual meeting here in January of 2024. And like I mentioned a moment ago, we will conclude as we can with a Q&A session, but please put those questions into the chat. We will get to them even if we don't get them to this afternoon. So with that, I would like to introduce from the National Science Foundation, Miss Ana Breda Estevez. Ana, all yours.
Hi, everyone. Great to see you. It's great to see so many people on the call. I've had the opportunity to work with many of you in the portfolio, in research, or potentially in the broader private sector and researchers or in government through the development of the national R&D agenda in digital assets. So today, really speaking more from that program director role at the NSF. In terms of how some of this came together, we are always at NSF focused on the advancing of innovation and research and very much commercialization of research. We're focused on societal impact. So as an agency, it's the nation's health, economic good, and defense. So as we think about the economic good, as we think about the impacts potential on people, and certainly the cybersecurity on the defense side, this is definitely a space of interest to so many people. And we've been in this space for many years. So worth noting, the federal government has funded hundreds of startups in the blockchain and digital asset space. That work spans many agencies. I've had the pleasure of directing about a quarter of those awards, but it spans many other agencies as well, whether it be DOE, DOD, NASA, NIH, so many different agencies across the federal government. And we've worked with many others who are not innovation funders at other agencies as well. So we've seen that many of the things people talk about as potential in this space, you've all been working on. But one of the things that we've been sensitized to is having supported startups in this space since the 2016, 2017 timeframe, and the NSF actually looking into, I think, our first grant on what would be the societal impact of Bitcoin. I've had difficulty finding the award number of that, but that was actually 2009. And NSF had also previously funded quite a bit of the underlying privacy research, including some of the fundamental research for Zcash. So the foundation's been in this space for a really long time. We've seen the tremendous expansion of high quality researchers, entrepreneurs, and industry. But over time, some of the same gaps we keep hearing over and over again. And one of the gaps or things that has been brought up many times is the potential of people coming together in more of an innovation sandbox, in more of a potential opportunity to work together to see what the compelling use cases are. And so there's a number of things that can be undertaken in a group like this. You can imagine over the years, there's been many questions about whether to do surveys, some of that's been done, whether to do boards, committees, etc. And in this space, the much more natural, digitally native DAO type structure is something that I'm very happy that we're able to support on this award. The structure is similar to some other awards that we've had at the NSF, where there's the opportunity for member participation. So this is an eager award, but in some ways it's similar to what we've done in the past in IUCRCs, which are membership organizations that allow accessibility for industry as members, for government agencies should they want to be members, and then also for startups and researchers. So really very interested in the accessibility of all this and bringing researchers together. And over the years, we've had the opportunity to support so many of these use cases, be they in finance, infrastructure, health, future of the internet, supply chain, metaverse, intersections with AI and cybersecurity, so many different areas. So just really looking forward as the program director on this to see what comes out of this community. And, we have been here for many years supporting R&D in this space, and we look forward to more continuing. So thank you in advance for all your work, and thank you all for coming today.
Yeah, thank you, Anna. And just note for everyone on the call here this afternoon. So this is being recorded. Just to let you know about that. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Kevin Jackson from Forward Edge AI. So before I turn it over to Kevin here real quick, just one of the things structurally. So this is a partnership, being funded through the National Science Foundation, mentioned here previously by Anna, and that the partnership team here is the University of Texas San Antonio with Forward Edge AI. So with that, I'll turn it over to Kevin. Kevin.
So hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. It's a large crowd. I really appreciate, your support of the National DigiFoundry. Our mission actually is to collaboratively explore global standards and the best practice for the use and exchange of digital assets. And for the first approximately 30 to 45 days, we've been hard at work trying to get the ore out of the ground so we can start melting and forming all of the assets that we're going to create. We had to go through a lot of the mundane aspects of finalizing membership rules and establishing our new identity. The Dash was sort of a working title as we were coming around. We appreciate any feedback on the National DigiFoundry as the brand. We think it actually fits what we're doing. We also this is going to be, quote, DAO-like. So we're kind of chartered to operate as a DAO. We are going to operate, for the most part, as a DAO. We're going to be operating on a blockchain. We're going to have our work groups that are going to be voted on based upon tokens. You can use you'll be able to, these tokens will represent funding for the different topics and that work groups will address. There'll also be governance tokens that would be used by members to vote on strategic direction of the entire organization. The DAO-like aspect is that we do have a steering committee of federal government, state government, and we actually have a couple of academia. We will have the opportunity to invite a couple of academia and a couple of commercial organizations for to serve a term on the steering committee, so that we stop drinking our own bathwater and we get a viewpoint of what everyone is doing. And there is an actual technical aspect of doing this. So we're actually in the process of building the infrastructure. We're proud to say that many of the members are going to actually provide the infrastructure that we are building on. We'll talk more about that later. Our goal, we want to be multi-chain, multi-cloud, and interoperable, so that it's not a specific technology that we're going to be using or leveraging. It is the capability of this technology, not one specific brand. We have already started designing and building that infrastructure, and we have a section today. We're going to give you sort of a sneak peek into what that's going to be look like. We have kicked off our pilot phase of the NDF, which is actually building that infrastructure, getting our inaugural work groups up and running with some exciting topics that they will be addressing. And, you know, as they often say, we're flying the plane as we're putting on the wings. So this pilot phase will be going through March of 2024. After that, we are going to invite our sponsors in for U.S. government demonstrations we have multiple agencies and departments, both federal, state, local, and tribal, that have reached out and that are interested in participating in this exciting endeavor. So we'll be doing demonstrations, identifying any shortcomings, any areas we have to improve, and that would drive or inform our final development period from July 2024 to November 2024. And we are targeting full operational capability by December of 2024. The NDF, as I said, it works similar to a DAO. Members, as you join, depending upon the membership level, you'll get allotted tokens. There are basically going to be two types of tokens. There's a utility token that will be used to fund the work groups. And that utility token could also be used to get training and education on Web 3.0, blockchain, on the technology and how to apply this technology to your business. There's also a governance token, and that would be used to vote on the strategic decisions of the entire organization. So tokens kind of represent share ownership of this DAO-like organization, and they can also be used to exchange for internal resources from other members of the DAO. So it's sort of our internal economics. Work groups will be able to receive resources to build, test, and operate what we call an innovation sandbox on different topics. These will be done in 6-month sprints. Every 6 months, you would have to write some type of report on what you have done, what you have accomplished, what you learned, what you did right, what you did wrong. and what you would like to do for the next phase. Some activities will only last 6 months. Others may be ongoing. So every 6 months, you'll have to go back to the organization and prove your worth to be re-up for another 6 months. And these reports become part of the NDF's reporting to the National Science Foundation. The intent is for this to be an ongoing and continual asset to the nation. So you say, well, how does a work group get funding? Well, we've identified 4 different ways a work group could actually get funded through the NDF. Starting in the upper left-hand corner is sort of the foundational way of doing it. An NDF member would have an idea, come up with an idea and write a proposal. This proposal we would have a 60-day cycle for offering proposals and voting on those proposals. Members would vote by pledging utility tokens, those that they represent funding to the work group. The top vote getters would be approved for instantiation and a charter. And NDF resources would be applied for that 6-month period of performance. The second option on the upper right-hand side is there are many government organizations, maybe even commercial organizations that would like the NDF to look at a particular challenge. So they may put out an request for proposal or request for information. NDF as an organization would review it and then create a proposal based upon its members. If it's selected, then the organization would fund the work group's activities. The third, lower left-hand corner, there are many small business innovation research or technology transfer opportunities that come out of the federal government. A member may want to go after one that's associated with digital assets. They could actually bid the NDF as a partner or as a component of their proposal. That may be very helpful since we have infrastructure, we have a broad range of capabilities and skills from the membership. That would go in as we would be a partner to that NDF member. And once again, winning that award would fund the work group. There are some members that have already won either SBIRs, SCTRs, or are in the position to get a sole source award from an organization or agency. So they could leverage the NDF once again to deliver on that sole source, and the work group could be funded. I'm happy to report that at this early stage, we actually have members that are in the process of executing all 4 one of these processes. So this is not academic. It is actually happening today. So with that, I'll turn it over back to John.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. Yeah, definitely really excited to announce our Genesis block founding members for the NDF. So we're going to give a chance here to our founding members to give a short kind of 2 minutes overview. So with that, I'm going to lead off with IBM. So Mr. Talakan, all yours.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, thanks for giving me this time. Very great what you guys are doing, and my side, supporting from a technology infrastructure perspective makes a lot of sense. I've done a lot of blockchain work in the past, and happy to support the endeavor.
All right, thank you very much. Next, I'll have from BioCrowd, Mr. Mark Stoner.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for the introduction. And are we going to be presenting later in the working groups then?
Yeah, we'll get a chance to talk about the working groups here later, Mark. Yep.
Okay, yeah. So BioCrowd, we're a startup specifically. We've really been working in parallel and then connected with Kevin and John. So we're very excited about this. We're a biotech marketplace connecting company founders with investors, early stage research, building an ecosystem to fund leading edge research.
All right, thanks very much, Mark. Next, from the Blockchain Academy, Mr. Ryan Williams.
Hello, yes, I think you can hear me. First, I just want to thank NSF, UT San Antonio, John, Forward Edge, Kevin, really for leading this, visionary DAO experiment to, define our new digital frontier. To us, this isn't just a project; it's a much-needed response to the challenges we're facing in the realm of finance, healthcare, supply chain, disaster response, and publishing, which I think we'll touch on. The list is endless. So thanks for bringing together, private and public sectors to accomplish this. Also, we're really trying to democratize money, power, and innovation, but also address our social inequities head on. So at least for the Blockchain Academy, central to our mission is education and standardization. Thrilled to be a Platinum and Genesis partner. We're contributing 54 courses, as Kevin alluded to, blockchain, AI, Web3, all instrumental in educating both DigiFoundry members, but also more broadly the public that must leverage the content. And what's more, the courseware is really aligned with ANSI and ISO standards. And so we really want to focus on establishing a skill benchmark for the space, because if people can't hire effectively the workforce, it's difficult. So we recognize that certification is key to professional development and market confidence. IBM and Microsoft have really proven that out. And so the Web3 Certification Board, which is a part of the Blockchain Academy, is establishing those accredited skills through the American National Standards Institute. And so we're just really excited to be a part of this experiment, have tokens leverage to get education and skills to your members. So we look forward to seeing you in class.
All right, thanks very much, Ryan. Next is Constellation, Mr. Benjamin Diggles. Benjamin?
Hey, thanks, John. Yeah, Benjamin Diggles here, one of the co-founders of Constellation. We're contributing our core technology as blockchain infrastructure that comes with a suite of Web3 solutions, such as wallets, being able to mint tokens, node validators, all sorts of good stuff. Really appreciate being here. I have nothing but great things to say about this effort, and we're really excited to contribute. We are a US-based blockchain. We're graph-based. We're a directed acyclic graph, very similar to Cosmos, Polkadot, IOTA, and others. And we've been in federal since 2019. Our main customer is US Transcom. We work on secure information sharing around sensitive mission data with contracting partners outside of the mothership. We largely believe that crypto and tokenizing assets for incentivization and behavioral change is the future of bringing technology and cryptocurrencies together, and feel that this DAO is one of the best landscapes for us to test these things. So I'll slap in some information here in the chat about our company if you want to read a little bit more, but we're really excited to partner, and it's awesome to see so many great faces here. Back to you, John.
Yeah,
thank you.
very
And
much,
I think
Benjamin.
I think this was the only time I didn't mention DAG, so apologies for that. We actually have always called it distributed ledger precisely because of DAGs and blockchain. So thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, thanks. And the last one, unfortunately, couldn't have Microsoft join us here today, but they are one of the other Genesis Block founding members. So definitely excited to have Microsoft here as part of the team. Next is obviously we do have a host of bronze members that have already signed up as bronze level members. So definitely really excited for those organizations to be representative of the NDF. And like I said, definitely really excited to continue to grow our membership and really be able to tackle some hard problems through this initiative. Next, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Manny from Forward Edge, and he's going to walk you through our infrastructure. Manny?
Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining. Good afternoon. So In terms of our infrastructure, we have the ability to use Microsoft Azure Cloud or IBM Cloud. On top of that, we have the ability to use either Hyperledger Firefly, Hyperledger Fabric. At the same time, we also have the ability to use Constellation networks. As Benjamin mentioned, in terms of Constellation, we have the ability to use Constellation, Euclid SDK, and also the Stargazer wallet. So these are the different infrastructure options that are available to the work groups. They're free to choose whichever is applicable to their use case. And then I would also like to give a very quick overview of the website. Thanks, Kevin. So the starting point here is the NDF that you see in the center of the screen. So this is the UTSA website. Once you click there, you will be redirected to the National DigiFoundry website. So this is the website. On the top section, you have home, login, training, and register. And if you scroll slowly, first it will explain the mission statement. And in the center of the, you can see a button called Join Our Work Group. So this is how you can actually support one of the work groups, or you can also, it will actually redirect to a form where you can fill the information and then support one of the existing work groups, or you can also propose a new work group. And then if we scroll a little down, so these are the work groups that are already listed on the website as of now. So we have the disaster response, we have the decentralized science, and then this section primarily talks about the different membership levels. So you can see there is bronze, silver. Each of these different memberships have different tokens that are granted, and also the different nuances on the governance tokens, training token, and the utility token. And then towards the bottom, you have the tokenomics. As Kevin mentioned earlier, we have 3 tokens. One is utility token, one is training token, and one is the governance token. And then the bottom footer is a collaboration between Forward Edge and UTSA. This is the landing page. And once you are able to successfully log in, Kevin, if you can go to the, yeah. So this is how you would see the login page. Yeah, if you can stay on the 4th tab, Kevin. Yeah. So once you successfully log in, so this is what you would see. And then these are the different sections. The second one is work group environment. So this is where you, as I mentioned, you have the flexibility to use different clouds, different providers, and also different options or flavors of blockchain technologies. And then the next section is the training section. So if you click on the training section, it would redirect you to the subdomain, which is education.digifoundry.org. So this is the blockchain academy powered courses where you can actually use your training tokens, complete the courses, and then utilize those tokens here. And then if you go back to the website, yeah, and then if you click on DAO, yeah, this is still work in progress. It's still coming soon, but this is a section where you would see all the operations related to the NDF core DAO, all the governance, all the voting and proposal. And towards the end, you have the e-wallet. So this is the wallet that would be provided to all the users. And we are using the Constellation Network's Stargazer wallet. So this will help us to use the tokens, mint the token, transfer the tokens. And then I think that's all from my end. Back to you, John.
Yeah, thank you, Manny, for doing that overview for us. So I'm actually going to do a quick turnover here to Kevin, and he's going to set up the stage talking about our 3 working groups. Kevin?
So the core of what we do is our work groups. That is how we actually deliver, and really the purpose of our existence. We are very happy to have the opportunity to launch with 3 different work groups: our climate change disaster response, healthcare research publishing, and secure information sharing. And I'm also honored to have joining us from the Department of the Treasury, Melissa Oliva, who is a government sponsor for the climate change disaster response. Ms. Oliva?
Good afternoon. Thanks so much for the wonderful introduction. I would be remiss if I didn't thank the National Science Foundation and her team, the University of Texas, San Antonio, John Huggins and his team, federal agency partners, academia, and Forge Edge AI for leading out on the Dow. What started as an idea in a white paper is going to propel economic resilient communities, which falls under strategic objective 1.3 and is anchored in our 50 states initiative. So we are very, very excited. We plan to address some of the negative impacts of disasters like those that were experienced in Hawaii. The US Department of Treasury is focusing our efforts to support underserved and under-resourced communities affected by natural disasters, rather. These communities often experience high unemployment rates and require additional support and anchors so that they can recover and thrive. The US Department of Treasury's Climate Change Action Plan aims to address community recovery challenges by promoting initiatives that foster small business resiliency, community economic growth, and global environment sustainability. Our goals are in alignment with the U.S. Small Business Administration in executing our strategy, which is to help small businesses in these communities. We want to ensure that they are able to gain access to resources and gain access to capital so that they could be sustainable and grow. We plan to achieve this through partnerships with our community development financial institutions, the State Small Business Credit Initiative, our procurement technical assistance centers, which are now called APEX, accelerators, the Women Business Centers, and the Veterans Business Outreach Centers, and the Small Business Development Centers. So know that when you see us in those 50 states, we're coming because we want to make sure that you have an opportunity where you could be considered for procurement requirements within Treasury departmental offices, as well as our bureaus. By advocating for small businesses located in FEMA designated disaster recovery areas, we plan to better prioritize our contractual awards to the underserved and under-resourced communities, and we plan to make this a long-standing opportunity to create long-term successes for small businesses in areas where it's needed most. Thank you so much to the team for the opportunity to share my thoughts today.
No, thank you. Thank you very much. This is an exciting, we're honored to be partnering with you on this. The second work group we'd like to highlight this evening is Healthcare Research Publishing, Mark Stoner from BioCrowd. And Mark, you said you wanted to share a slide?
Yeah, let me share my screen quick. Of a Microsoft Teams user. See if I can get there. See my screen?
Yes. Okay.
All right. Well, again, I'll echo thanks to everybody for the partners, John and Kevin and NSF and so forth. So we're introducing, so again, BioCrowd, we're a startup. We've been working in this direction anyway for almost 2 years, building out development. We've got 3 MDs, 4 PhDs on the team. We've got relationships internationally. And then we met with Kevin, and this was perfect. This is great. We can leverage kind of each other and what we're doing and so forth. But we're ready to go. I just put into the chat again, there's a sign up for our work group, Decentralized Science. So I'll go through kind of high level what we do is BioCrowd, and I'm going to toss to my colleague, Jeff Curry. So again, BioCrowd, we're building a Web3 platform and ecosystem to support capital and resources that accelerates IP innovation and medical research as an investment vehicle using SEC compliant private securities. And we are targeting high impact underserved areas of medical research such as rare diseases. Through our decentralized accelerator platform we're building out, scientists and researchers can find funding faster and connect directly with patients to speed up discovery of these potentially life-changing drugs and medical devices. Another example of the decentralized science, the digital assets, what can be done is failed clinical trials. We can pick up, work out royalty deals with those researchers, those companies, those universities, toss it out to the world. It can be monetized. A scientist in India might be able to work with a scientist in France that we connect with, or the Bay Area or Texas or whatever. The other area is just the Stem Cell Agency in California, $110 million grant program. We're assembling a pursuit team to pursue that, and that's another example. But I'll toss to Jeff Curry here, who's our Science and Innovation Director. Go ahead there, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks, Mark, and nice to meet everyone over here. So just want to give like a cursory overview on like what the issues are and why this is an important working group, we feel. So as I'm sure some of the NSF members here know, that scientific research currently has issues, and these are really two-pronged. The first one is under publishing. So it's paywalled. For one, it's very inaccessible and not open, and a lot of the data around that is very siloed. And then next. If you can go next, Mark. Yeah. And then so currently the system, back one more, please. Currently the system is publishing through journals. And the way this works is because it's paywalled and often very bureaucratic. What happens is journals often incentivize behaviors that slow scientific progress and the information dissemination or distribution. And so we think that blockchain can play a pretty pivotal role here in the actual information storage and distribution of that content. Next. And then the other issue is what's considered funding and translation. So this is what's called the Valley of Death. And ultimately what this means is, and a lot of people have witnessed this, is academic research doesn't translate over into the clinic very often. Next. And this is just a schematic. As you can see here, there's this valley of death in the middle where there's no funding that occurs in that middle gap. So academics receive grants, and often that research doesn't get translated into the areas where institutional investors come. And again, we think that DAOs can be a good coordination mechanism for figuring out what deserves to and can be pushed over into through the valley of death here. Next. And then I'll wrap it up here. So there is this niche movement in the Ethereum ecosystem that's evolving called decentralized science. And it provides, I think, a lot of avenues and alternative approaches to the way traditional science is done now, which we would, from our end on this working group, would like to foster a lot of the infrastructure and build out the tooling that would make this reality here to improve the way that funding is done for research and publishing. So as I mentioned, the mission for the working group here is going to be building blockchain tools and infrastructures to help essentially streamline the funding and the information dissemination around scientific research. And in doing that, we'll help activate, reward, and empower community experts and contributors, and help really flatten out and democratize how this clinical research is funded and how knowledge is shared. And just this is like an overview here of some of the types of people that we're going to need to make this a reality within the working group. And Mark included an Airtable in the chat here where you can kind of register if you feel like you fall under any of these categories.
And I put it into actually twice into the chat areas, as Jeff mentioned. So we're ready to go. We people can sign up. We'll set it up. We'll be coming up with webinars in the near future, kind of working with John and Kevin and the team, but we're ready to move forward, looking for great ideas. There's a lot of ideas out there. We also need people kind of for output, help us move it forward. We've got a basic framework of tasks that need to be done. We'll kind of build it out, and it's voting. It's a community. Everybody has an opinion, and we're excited. But as I said, we're in a parallel direction. We're looking for a seed round, and this fits perfectly. I think we're very collaborative with each side of us. And then for more details, you can see the website biocrowd.io. There's a video. You can find me on LinkedIn, and then you've got the application for the work groups. So we're excited
Great.
to join, and we'll toss it back to you.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. This is this is very exciting, and this is for all of, like I say, this is for all mankind. Finally, one of the real values of a DAO, I believe, is information sharing and information exchange. And this is one reason why we're so happy to have Constellation Networks as one of our founding members, because their technology is really built for exchange, secure, and reputable exchange of information. So we are leveraging their infrastructure for secure information sharing, and we hope to, we will have a work group focused on how to best use this information and this capability. So Benjamin Diggles, if you want to say a few words on secure information sharing and how your technology can really support this.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, that's probably the most focused use case that we've been looking at over the last couple of years is secure information sharing. But I always, like I said earlier, to add the incentivization layer on top of it. The way that we've built our network is, it brings forth the great promises of immutable ledger technology, such as immutable notarization, right? And that's key when you want to add attribution to those that are committing any sort of research or peer review to the grander pool. I thought that graphic that was shared of that poor path of people getting beat up sort of decentivizes people from contributing, which is a bad way to go, right? And so the way that our technology works, and again, I slapped in some architecture stuff into the chat if you want to learn a little bit more on the details, is we would have a form of sorts or an application that you would submit your research to or your peer review to. And we utilize a thing called validation criteria. And that validation criteria is what appends the necessary data that needs to be enforced or attributed to the blockchain. And at that time, we have the ability to also apply commercials around incentivization. What is the cost of somebody to be able to use this thing, view it, so forth, and what are those permissions that go along with it? And of course, there's a signing. So there would be the key store where they would sign. And if it was extremely sensitive, we could have multi-signature approach to signing onto that ledger. And then it's off to the races, right? And each of these universities is representative of what we call a metagraph. Those that know, like Polkadot, they call it a parachain. Cosmos calls theirs an interchain. But this allows us to run a network and individually within each of these universities so that they are sort of walled off in their own blockchain. And that has its own consensus algorithm, ensuring the fidelity, integrity of that data, that research that's being committed. Constellation has a thing called the global L0 or L0 protocol. And this is where the interoperability of each of these different documents can come in and be made available for those that want to extract them and utilize them as they see fit while protecting the integrity and attribution of the contributor. And so with that comes with snapshot data that includes all the data from each respective partners that we will be utilizing IBM's cloud instance to store that data. And we're also going to be using IBM's clouds for the node operators to run each of these blockchains. So big shout out to IBM. We are cloud agnostic, but we're really looking forward to working with IBM. That snapshot data that is then stored can be made available for not only data management solutions, but also, of course, analytics. And so we'll be providing, out of the box dashboards, namely around like the block explorer, if you will, that has been abstracted or augmented for the audience of the secure information sharing. And this sort of end-to-end approach is what we do currently with sensitive top mission data with US Transcom when conducting missions with outside contracting partners such as FedEx, Atlas Air, Omni Air, and so forth. So this is right in our wheelhouse, and we're really looking forward to contributing and happy to have any side conversations to sort of demystify some of the stuff that I just talked about. So back to you, Kevin.
No, great. Well, thank you very much. And I just wanted to note that the DeSci working group actually will be deployed on top of the Microsoft Azure cloud. So, and we're multi-cloud and multi-chain. That's going to be Ethereum initially, while we're going to have Hyperledger supporting the climate change disaster response work group. And then the next step would be to use all of these capabilities on any chain. So our operational cadence, as I said earlier, we're going to have a 60-day cycles with respect to proposal or work group proposals, voting, and chartering. We've talked about how the tokens are actually used. We are not connected to a public exchange in any way. This is completely permissioned and private chains. And as such, we're going to be leveraging the Stargazer wallet with tokens that are only usable in our segregated environment. But it's all capable of transitioning to a public environment in the future. So once we work all this out and all of the legal and regulatory issues associated with tokens are straightened out, we could actually transition the whole infrastructure into a public environment. So we're standing up these 3 work groups. Each work group will set up their own work group specific cadence for meetings, activities. There will be a requirement for the work group to submit a monthly activity report. The NDF itself will have quarterly meetings. We expect to have 3 virtual quarterly meetings. This is our first quarterly meeting, being the fourth quarter of 2023. And in the first quarter of 24, calendar year, of course, we will have our first physical meeting. First physical meeting will be held in San Antonio, Texas, and University of Texas San Antonio has graciously offered to host this first physical meeting. So we've talked about our training education that's going to be available here for members. Not immediately. The next step after this will be we will be issuing after your contracts have been finalized. We will be issuing wallets, tokens, and then you'll be able to use your tokens for training and to participate in the different work groups. So, and we'll keep on doing it. So with that, I'll throw it back to John.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. Yeah, so I'll say, right, for our first annual meeting, coming up here in January of 2024, I'll say San Antonio is a great place to be in January, not July, as long as they don't have an ice storm. So it should be a good time here coming up here in a few months. I was doing a quick scan of the chat. I don't see any questions, but I do see that Anna has her hand raised. So Anna, please go ahead.
So just wanted to say super exciting. Thank you, everybody. And it was nice to see Melissa, who I know from Treasury, who I know has been a big supporter in this space. I also saw, wanted to acknowledge David Houston, if he's still on, from State, who has been a big proponent of DAOs. So really has laid out that vision over a long period of time. I don't know if there are any other interagency colleagues on the call, but just wanted to give them a shout out and an opportunity to say hello, if so.
Thanks, Anna.
Did David Beck join John Space Force?
I don't see him, and I'm scanning the list right now. I do not see him.
Okay, yeah, we just make sure we don't miss anybody. Thank you for that, Anna.
Yeah, this is David here, Department of State, just stopping in, saying hello, and really appreciate this this presentation. It's very clarifying, and just really happy for NSF to have been leading on this, and I wish everyone the best of luck going forward. And I have a question, but I'll pause to let someone else.
And just to be
someone
clear,
else
the
mention.
reason I gave David a shout out is David really did lay out a vision over a year ago for the importance, of a DAO to bring a lot of people together. So, I don't say that lightly, David. Thank you for your really pushing in this space. And it's tremendous to see that the team has really taken forward leadership, with so many different participants with Texas, San Antonio, Forward Edge, and all those.
Yeah, thanks, Anna. Thanks, David. I did see a chat or a question pop up in the chat here. So, where do we find a list of bronze level members? So we'll be working, to publish that. So that's something, right? Both for our Genesis block founding members as well as our bronze members. We will, publish that information of, who's a, part, of that ecosystem. I see a couple hand raised here. So let me start off. I think Mark Stoner I saw first. So Mark.
Yeah, just real quickly, as a private company, just kind of want to comment. I'll describe it as a stalemate between the SEC and the crypto industry right now. So hopefully, we kind of see this as a way to give a voice and participate in that process too, kind of what makes sense. I mean, when I went to sign up on a whitelist for a company called Supra, I'll call it the axis of evil. We get on the U.S. is on the list with Belarus, Cuba, and others. So just hopefully we'd kind of work through kind of some of the securities issues in the process too.
Mark, we have invited SEC and Department of Treasury is helping us to try to get those connections to have them participate in the DAO.
That's great. Yeah, I think they actually have a sandbox too. We're very interested to participate maybe through this thing. That's great.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Eric. Yeah, David, I see your hand raised. David Houston.
Yeah, so just keeping with the government theme here, I noticed on one of the earlier slides you allude to USG demonstrations circa Q2 of next year, and I'd just kind of be curious to hear a little bit about what you envision for that, and also just to what extent you're envisioning, when we talk about government participation, to what extent they are actually interfacing with the digital asset itself, as opposed to kind of just lurking in the emails and in some sort of advisory capacity. So just kind of curious to just get a feel for the hands-on aspects of this that you envision. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, David. So I'm going to turn over to Kevin for that answer.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So that line item is basically we plan that to be our open house. We would like to have our government members and partners to have opportunity to showcase what they've done and what they've learned about leveraging digital assets, and other government organizations that have not or have been lurking, for them to come and see what actually has happened. With respect to participation, we are open for hands-on participation of any agency. As I said, we're open to federal, state, local, and tribal organizations. Ideally, they would be sort of a use case sponsor, in that they've identified a need in their government that a digital asset can support. We could work with them to actually identify members that will be interested in participating, and get a work group that would focus on that topic in one of the 6-month sprint. And we really would like to have hands-on participation, depending upon what the activity is and need and the availability. So we're open to all recommendations or suggestions. So please, if there's something I've missed, please let me know. John?
Yeah, thanks, David. Thanks, Anna. Yeah, I got two hands up here. We'll get through those and then we'll close out the meeting here for today. Cynthia?
Yes, it's great to be here. Curious to know if for the climate change sustainable communities projects, there are links into it so that we can read about it. I didn't see any in the chat, but perhaps I just missed them. And the second piece on the information sharing, now our expertise here is supply chain. So looking at what's going on and if it can really be implemented, not just done technically. So for the information sharing project, is that just for research at the university level? Or are you looking at using it in different modes?
Yeah, so I'll answer the first part of the question. Yeah, as it relates to the climate change. Yeah, so more information to follow about that working group in terms of links and the like as we set up that working group. Secondly, about the last one there, that yeah, it's definitely not just academic. But Kevin, anything else you want to add? About either of those two working groups?
Yeah, what we're for all of our working groups, our focus is on practical implementation in a safe environment. So yes, we want to develop processes, procedures, and technological approaches that will be valuable broadly, including the commercial sphere.
I know we're at the top of the hour here, but I want to give Eric a chance here as well, just to close out the meeting. Eric, what do you have?
Yeah, thanks. I want to say thank you and appreciate everybody for joining. The only question I had, John, we talked about a speaker series. Are we still doing that? What's the plan, the cadence for that?
Yes, there's definitely still a plan. That's something that coordination happening between UTSA and Forward Edge about what that speaker series looks like. But yeah, that is definitely something that in conjunction beyond just these quarterly meetings with an annual meeting to start the first quarter of calendar year 24 is that, yes, definitely be on the lookout, for, a speaker series that we'll publish in that schedule forthcoming.
Thank you.
So I appreciate, I'll go ahead and close out the meeting here this afternoon. Definitely appreciate all of your interest and your time this afternoon about, joining us through this journey of establishing the NDF. We definitely overall look forward towards your partnership moving forward. If you do have a question that comes up afterwards, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself, John Huggins, or Kevin Jackson, and we're happy to answer those questions and include that in our summary. So this is something, like I said, you will be seeing a summary report from this kickoff meeting here very shortly. So once again, thanks again for your time and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.